And we are live. Hi, welcome in everyone. In this one, I'm going to go into how to get a business loan fast, even with bad credit, without collateral, no hard credit checks, and even no interest rates. This one is live, so I'm going to give the room a moment to heat up. But if this is the first time you're watching me, I do come out with content like this on the channel on all small business loans. And I'm going to cut right to it. Let's get right into this. If you're watching this right now, give me a hashtag replay or a hashtag live if you're watching now. If it's on the replay, hashtag replay so I know the time interval you are watching. But I will also get into end of the month offers. What are the expectations there? A few bonus tips on getting up to 2 million incredibly fast funding, and a few more details in the mix. I want to start off by saying this. It's been a long morning. I've been filling out people's questionnaires. They've been coming in till this moment still. And I'm appreciative and I'm grateful for you guys. If you guys have been watching some of my recent content, some of those lives, I've been giving you a little bit of tough love. And this won't be that in this video, so you don't have to worry about that. I just do that so I make sure you guys really understand that this knowledge is here to serve you. This knowledge is here to take you to another level that other people are not sharing with you. Now, let me get right into the mix. How do you get a business loan really fast? Is what a lot of people are questioning. Well, you're asking yourself, but I have bad credit. I have a 550 FICO. I can't get approved by the banks traditionally. I can't turn to an online banking solution. I maybe don't have enough time in business for what somebody wants. Maybe my revenue isn't where it needs to be, or probably it is. It's just I'm not getting approved for what I want. And I'm going to cover all of that and a lot more. So how do you get approved for a business loan really fast? What options first are on the table is what we have to look at. One of these being a merchant cash advance. And some of you who are watching me already know what that is. There is also what's called a hybrid merchant cash advance, which is one of my favorite things to do. Yes, this can, Miguel. You're asking, does this apply to Uber and Lyft drivers? Absolutely. So what I have to say to getting a business loan this fast through a merchant cash advance is basically this is where you can get approved same day, funded on the same day, depends on the time and how fast you can get that application in. Usually if it's afternoon, it could probably be the next day before noon. In a lot of cases, same day funding. And this is basically where it's based upon your credit card receivables and even your debit card sales. And so if your company is taking any kind of credit card processing, and you are putting a certain amount of deposits into your bank statements per month, and that's reflecting. And then if that's possible, then you can do a merchant cash advance. There's also a hybrid. With this hybrid, we don't take a future percentage of your credit card receivables like in a traditional way would. We don't take into that any accounts that can cause fluctuations because on one day you're having a great amount of sales and then one day you're on a low amount. So depending on what you're doing in sales every single day, you can get taken out more. If you do less, you get taken out less. So the overall payment, if you look at it on a daily, weekly, biweekly, and monthly basis, can fluctuate a lot and can really cause a lot of defaults, especially if you're having a cash flow problem as it is, or perhaps you'll hit a hard peak or a season coming up or in the future where it will limit you and you don't want to be in that position because you know your business well enough, right? So that is what's available. That's what I actually would recommend to get a business loan. It's called a cash advance in most states. So it's not exactly a business loan, but in some places it can be considered that in that category. And this is where you can get a lump sum to use for your project or your projects. Usually it's used to fuel for growth and expansion. This is not survival money. So for those of you watching, may have heard me say this in the past, but when you get alternative funding online that is not SBA related, that is not PPP funding, or it's not a grant, right? It's not the EIDL, the targeted advanced grant, which in a lot of cases that turns up to be payroll money. I got to pay my bills. I got to survive. I'm up to my neck in all this. I need help. This is not what that is. It can be that, but you also want to use that to keep your business afloat, keep it stable, and keep it on an increase. And this is why I recommend the solution as a hybrid, because we're not taking away a future percentage of your credit card and even debit card receivables. So you don't have to worry about fluctuations. If one day you're doing this amount of sales, we can take out more if you do more. you do less, we take out less. No, you get a fixed daily/weekly is usually how they work. Some people don't qualify for weekly. You'll qualify for daily and weekly. Other people with low details, like it could be credit score of a FICO of a 500, less than 600, less than a year's worth of business. You're just doing probably the minimum of 15,000 a month, maybe not 25,000. So at that point, we limit you to having a daily type of a payment. And so we're asking yourself, where do I go to find this? I'll show you that in a moment, but what other options are on the table to get funding fast? Well, you have a line of credit. This is a line of credit hybrid program. You can get them traditionally through banks. You can get them online with banking solutions. Those are available too if you qualify. And they can approve you for a certain amount, but not everybody will. So you also have these hybrid private lender lines of credits. And with these, you can get anywhere between, it can be at a minimum, but it depends on the service. It can be somewhere between 2,500 up to, or even 5,000 at a minimum, up to like 350,000 and above. In some cases, 250. Others, 150. There are some where it's just 100,000. Some people are looking for the most amount. So if you can't get approved and you qualify, what I recommend doing is, in a way, not stacking. I don't like that word. And I don't want you to get into the habit that if you get approved for this amount here, you're like, well, I didn't get approved for enough. I'm going to go and apply over there. And then now you're weighing them out. What I want to tell you as your business loan broker/agent, I've helped out so many people get funding today. Just now, honestly, I've had about 5 to 6 people coming through applications, people not getting funded. There's some that just don't qualify. There's other people that don't want to take what they can get. But I usually communicate this stuff with you before you go into an application. I show you guys what to do. And if this is the first time you're watching me and you haven't gone started on any of that and you need personalized and more of a customized approach, then I highly recommend you filling out my questionnaire that I'll leave down below in the description when you watch this later on. And I'll also put this right now in the comment section. Let me type it in here to my URL. But this is where you can simply fill out some funding details. It will land in my email inbox. I will then analyze and evaluate it and give you a proper response that's personalized and customized to you, not just from a business point of view, but from a personal and business outlook. So there it is in the comments. You might have to allow StreamYard access. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe you can't see it all, but I'll also try to leave it in the description in time if I share this with you guys later. So there's that option on the table. And in a moment, I'm going to be showing you where you can go to get started. But you have, I said, the merchant cash advance, which you can get an advanced amount that's based upon your credit card receivables and even your debit card sales, which you can get approved for, the amount of deposits, usually 3 and above is best. You have the hybrid merchant cash advance, which is what I strongly recommend. That would be my first solution because it is generally less expensive and we don't base upon taking away a future percentage of your credit card receivables. Sure, the rates can be medium to high. This is what the expectation is when you're going through private lenders and you're looking for fast money. And even if you qualify for other services, which maybe you've heard me say this in the past, this doesn't necessarily mean those are best for you. Today, I've had a lot of people filling out questionnaires who are doing around 300,000, 400,000, 100,000, even less than 100,000 and above, but above 15 and above 20, above 30. And they're looking for these SBA loans. They're looking for these rates that are like 3 to 5, 5 to 9, 6 to 18% with monthly long terms. Like we're talking 2+ years. But in all cases, in just the majority, over like 75% of these that have come through to me, they don't qualify, one. And two, if you were to qualify, if you're that person that does, then I want to say this to you, that what has to align are the uses of your funds, your time in business, the qualifications and documentation needed to be supplied for that service, the rigorous process, if there is one, the time to get funded, they can be a little bit pushed out. They can be 1 to 3 months with SBAs. They can be a quick turnaround of 2 to 3 days, even longer with online banking solutions. Just depends on the service you're going for. And you really ultimately have to ask yourself at the end of the day, do I qualify for this and am I being realistic about it? And that's what I'm here to serve you on. And I'm here to show you through all my content and my material that's been evolving so much so in this program that hopefully in time I'm working on putting a course together for you guys so you guys can get a full outlook on how all of this goes and what I'm going through in my own brain and everything when I'm processing this. So Now I'm going to show you where you can go get one of these business loans / cash advances extremely fast, and it can be accepted with bad credit. And I'm going to show you some of those requirements and what you should be striving for. But again, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please voice them to me in the live. I know a few of you have, but not everybody is available at this time, and I don't always announce when I go live. Sometimes they're spontaneous, and then in most cases, I will also announce it. But let me go over here into the share screen. One moment. And I'm going to get into the credit side of this a little bit, and I'm going to give you guys some extra resources. So there's a company here called David Allen Capital Link, where you can get up to $2 million incredibly fast funding and even up to $25,000 same day instant approval. You can even qualify for a line of credit, for a hybrid line of credit, and you can take an automatic weekly repayment. With the up to $2 million, you can qualify for daily or weekly repayments. It just depends on how you're seeing what category of or what bucket you fall into and what actually makes most sense to you. But we can get you up to $2 million incredibly fast funding within a day of approval, funds deposited within 1 to 2 days, as much as a week, depending on your file. And we can take multiple loans into consideration. One thing that I want to recommend most people do, though, is just to be careful about who you're going out there and you're getting approved with. I've spoken to so many people recently who are like, I'm in a first position, second position, I'm just renewing, doing this and that. And a lot of the things that I see is they're unhappy with what they are getting. They're unhappy with what they're doing, partially in parts of their business, not completely. But what I'm saying is when you go to a service and you apply, just because somebody shows you something doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. But I have so many people who do it otherwise, and they go on their own way. They think because, well, I didn't get the offer that I wanted, that it's shame on that lender, shame on that business. I was told that I can get this much. That is not the right thinking, and we have to adjust that. And it's okay. It's not all your problems, and it's not all your fault. Not somebody hasn't educated you on this. So as much as you can get educated, the better, so you can stay well informed. So today, on the credit side, we can approve you for this one with the 500 FICO, and then we have another one with the 450 FICO that I'll get into in a moment. But one thing I want to say is, when you're getting a business loan very fast, you're even probably getting an unsecured or secured business term loan. Those can work too with faster approvals and fast funds as well. And there probably are a few other ones, but those aren't as fast. What you have to think about is, where is your credit score at? Some people today that have actually filled out the questionnaires, they've submitted it online through that questionnaire that I said you can check out down below. They fill it out. It comes in my email. I will then analyze, evaluate it, and give you a proper response back that is personalized and customized to what you can go qualify for, what are your best funding options, your option, very thorough, broken down into numbers and so forth, the conclusion, bonus tips, and bonus material, on what to look out for and what I recommend you do moving forward. With that said, if you have a low credit score, you have to understand that you will not get the best rates, you will not get the best terms. So if, for example, like today, I've dealt with multiple people's information that's confidential between them and I, but I won't say who the person is I've seen credit scores coming in at a level of 550. Revenue can be high. It could be like 60 to 70,000, but no credit is established, or if it is established, to what degree. But if it isn't established, for this example, at a 550 FICO or so, you're doing maybe 60,000, 50,000 per month, you could only qualify for so much. We can perhaps get you 75% to 200% of your lowest month. Now, with a 550 FICO, what rates you're going to get, it will be between a 1.30 to 1.49 total payback is what it's calculated on. Meaning that if we got you a 1.45 and you got perhaps 40,000 times 1.45 is what your repayment would be. But you're like, well, I have this in revenue and I have the time of 2+ years. That's great. But your credit score is what's holding you back. And with bad credit, that will limit also more so on your terms. So if you were to have a 550 as opposed to, if you had like a 600, we can approve you at least with that said, if you had at least a year's plus worth of business, not even at 2 years for the rates, 1 year with terms, and you're doing 50,000 and above, but you have a 550 FICO, that's going to put you in like a 4 to 6 month time frame. And at most 6 months, getting 45 or 40,000. And then it's a question of, can you make those repayments? And it's not so much about the interest or the terms and all. In some ways it's the term, but it's more so about the repayment. So when you look at it at a daily, when you look at it at a weekly, and you even look at it perhaps bi-weekly and a monthly, does it even make sense? A lot of people this week have already been saying no, because that's what they qualify for. Sure, your revenue is strong enough, but if you were to just get your 550 into a 600, or if you're just below 600 at 580, and then you're like, well, if I got into the 600 range, given a year's worth of business, and I'm doing above 25,000, I'm doing 40,000, 50,000 on average, you're saying that I can get between 7 to 11 months then? Sure, yeah. What would it mean to you if you got an extra 2 months, from 6 months just to 8 months? And again, what has to make sense is the use of your funds. We don't just give you 11 months and say, well, you just needed it for this. Why would we give you the 11 months? Because it looks better as a daily payment, in a weekly payment. It can't always be that way. And so we have to look at that, myself as the broker / agent, myself with the underwriters, myself with the lenders, when I put myself together with them and we evaluate these files that come through, like I've been doing today. And I see people with a 550 FICO just below 600, and they're getting these quote unquote outrageous terms of 6 months with 40,000, just about what they were wanting to get funded for. Maybe they didn't get everything they wanted, but it's because of that credit score and a lot of issues. So I have a video that I'll try to link to you guys down below where you can go and fix your FICO credit score, but just keep that in mind. Now let me go back into the screen and continue forward. Now we also have an up to 25,000 today, same day instant approval Bank Breezy program is what it's called, Bank Breezy. And with just as little as 5,000 plus per month in bank revenue, a business checking account with 6+ months in business, a 450 FICO credit score is all that is asked for. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. And then all industries are included. You can get more funds when you need them. Payment history will earn you more. You get to receive funds time and time again. Add-on funds are available, and you get a personalized account manager. No hard credit inquiries. It's simple and fair. Transparent terms is what you get. There is no collateral required, and industry-leading early pay discounts. So there are a lot of benefits of coming here. You get the best offer presented to you based upon your funding details. And if you needed more than 25,000, okay. If you're doing 15,000 plus and above in monthly bank revenue for each of the last 3 months, and you're averaging just that and more, then we can qualify you for more funding. And you have a business checking account. You have 6+ months in business and a 500 plus FICO credit score. Usually that's 4+, not 6 months for most cases. So 4+ months. With Bank Breezy, we're looking at least 6+ months. Now let me move the screen over. So the expectation with getting in at a 450 FICO, I released a video on this not too long ago, so I won't be too specific. So ideally, 550 is what we want. 450 can qualify you with stronger revenue and stronger background, stronger qualifications, the bank verification, everything looks good. The reason being is because lenders do not want to deal with people calling them. The underwriters, myself, don't want to get phone calls from people saying, well, I can't make my payments. Can I get this payment deferred? Can I instead do this? Can I pay it off this way? Can I get my payments lowered? And more than half of the people end up in collections. And in a way, that isn't your fault, but at the same time, it can be. And here's the reason. Hear me out. You don't just take funding because you need it and you're going to do whatever you can. You also have to understand your business's structure from a budgeting point of view. Where are you allocating your costs? Where are they going? Where is your expenses? Where is it the most? Where is it hurting you most? And so if you're taking this quote unquote as survival money and it's hurting your bottom line at the end of the day, it's not even keeping it stable and afloat. You're like, well, I can use this at least $7,000, but you're looking at a payment of like 300 to 400, sometimes 200 or so. It's not even 100. People who are asking for 100, it's just not realistic and it won't happen. It won't happen with even the best profiles out there. So keep that in the back of your mind. You get a fixed daily payment if it's about a $200 to $30 payment and you're like, well, that won't happen because my cash flow, and you're giving me a reason that you need it for COVID relief. I know immediately when I see these files coming through that most of them will not go and apply. So perhaps I've given you an evaluation. I've responded back to what you can qualify for, but you just haven't taken that next step, which is going ahead and starting your application because you maybe haven't come to terms with that's what you can qualify for. So you're looking for more options. And again, I remember when I first got started in all this, it was very painful. So I know what you're going through. I know how hard it is to get business funding through the banks, trying to go through your savings. You're just trying to save that for a rainy day. Perhaps you have it in there. You're just like, forget it, not spending that. That was actually planning to be for my Europe vacation where I was going to end up spending an extra $2,000 to $3,000 there. Now I can't because I got to inject it into my business, where this was going to be something I'm going to go spend time with family and for other purposes. And it's hard, isn't it? Let me know too if you're feeling this in the comment section. Have you ever been pushed aside from somebody telling you, one, you're not good enough to receive funding, and then two, you're not deserving of what you're getting? Let me know in the comment section. I'm here to make sure at the end of the day you have all the tools necessary for you to get it. And it won't always happen in one take. Like if I say, hey, well, I'm going to help you the most way I can possible with everything that I know, because I know a lot. And I'm going to say, well, even in my emails, sometimes I respond back to you guys if you guys fill out those questionnaires. Even if you don't qualify for the 40,000, 50, 20,000, if you maybe just qualified for even half, then hey, why don't we just do this? You get what you can take. If it makes sense to you, the benefit exceeds the repayment, add-on funds are available. And in time, 45 up to 65 days or so, you pay off about 50% of that or so. You come back and get the rest of that you needed, or you do it in little installments, but you don't back up and you shy away from the fact that that can work. You ask yourself as a business owner, and you put your entrepreneur hat, as much as if you don't think you are one, you ask yourself, how can I get my 50,000? What would it take for me to do to get my 50,000? Not, I need 50,000 in one shot, because that's always a very closed mind. So now let me get back into the share screen and continue forward. I'm going to get into the line of credit right now in just a second. So I showed you a bit of this with Bank Breezy. The information, the videos, and everything you need to know about them will be down below in the description. So make sure you're looking down below once more, because you'll get the separate videos and the full video on all of this if you want to learn more about it, which I strongly recommend you do. You can also get a business line of credit from 5,000 to 100,000. Very useful lines of credits are amazing. I've used them, even getting a lump sum. And I've said this, that I've gotten multiple types of funding, and it's best if you use this such as a lump sum, but you can withdraw the funds and use them whenever you would like. So if you're suffering with cash flow, if you need it for an emergency, perhaps not now, in the future, you want to be prepared. You're like, well, I think something will happen, or just in case, then I'm going to say, oh, okay, I already have the funds. I don't need to use them until I need to. So then I can withdraw that 5,000 out of that 100,000 you probably get approved for, 50,000 and so forth. You know, like I can use 5,000 right now, so I'm going to get it and I'm going to inject it into my business this way. I may need it for marketing and advertising. I may need it for payroll, for cash flow, for some emergency funds. You can use it similarly to amount of a lump sum. I've had people today getting approved. I've had people just recently, the other days, getting approved and taking this because they qualify for it. And I've seen so many people coming back for getting more, even for a lump sum. But this is how it goes, and this is how you should look at this. I believe every business owner needs to have a line of credit. As much as you don't think you need one right now, and perhaps your priority is to get a lump sum, maybe you don't realize what it is you actually need. That's what that questionnaire form is down below. Now let me come back into the screen, and I'll end up with this questionnaire form, and then you can go and get started if you haven't already with everything down below. So here we are. Better fee structure, fueling your business's growth and expansion, simple and fast. How does it work? Automatic weekly repayments, take the funds out as needed, receive approvals up to 100,000, new draws and revolving limits. Qualification, it's really simple. Do you qualify? Here's what we're looking at, a year's plus worth of business. In some cases, it is 2+ years. It can be state specific, and it can also be industry specific. I know that with a lot of restaurants also, if it's not always 2+ years, you can qualify for 1 year, but for in a lot of lines of credits, restaurants at 2 years, and there are a lot of other industries that have shut down people from getting approved for this. So there are options on the table. Anywhere in the United States, if you're in Puerto Rico, Canada, or another place, I'll leave information to a separate program, but primarily if you're in the US is what I recommend you do. Use the other one perhaps for if you're in Puerto Rico, Canada, and maybe if you didn't qualify here, first and foremost. But 550 personal FICO credit scores, what's asked for? 15K plus in monthly bank revenue. If you're not doing that, you can try our working capital advance if you were to click there. And all this again will be down below. You will then be moved over here to the Bank Breezy. And again, it comes down to a question of, let me move this over. Is the repayment just too high? it exceeds the benefit. If so, then you won't ever get funding because no matter what we show you, it will not make sense. Your numbers, when you go sit back and you say, okay, if this is what I'm going to be getting, and some people can just look at it and say, well, that's not what I like, but it's what I will take because that's possibly what all I can qualify for. Perhaps it isn't all I can qualify for, but this is what I want. And it doesn't always make sense to do something different where you're going to be having to pay on added interest if you do qualify for that. So here we can approve you for up to 2 million. Just because you're doing over 100,000, 50,000 and above, and you think you should get a monthly term because you should think you should get a lower interest or you should get this type of monthly payment, it's not always in your best interest. And when we calculate and we take the use of your funds and we look at things in the background, delinquencies, bankruptcies, do you have any like 2 years of personal tax returns? How good do they look? Are they profitable? Personal tax returns. And if you're trying to go through all of that and it makes sense for something to be more long-term, 2+, 5+ years for what you're trying to do, then perhaps we can. And if you qualify for that, that's another question. But it's okay, even if you don't get a monthly payment, you end up saving loads and interest over time. Your total cost of financing drops substantially in a lot of cases. I've seen it dropping down 10, 20, 30, 40, and get this, over 140,000. Yeah. When people who are expecting 2+ years, instead you get this weekly repayment, that's just as fine. You don't always get daily. It can be daily in a lot of instances, depending on what you qualify for. And stronger funding details helps in a lot of cases. I've had people coming through here, through me, getting approved for 600,000, 700, 800 and above, getting 500, 400,000, 300, 200, a lot less than that, 20, 15, 50, 30, 40, 50, the list goes on and on in between all of that. And they take it and they put it to good use. And so I don't believe in what I've seen in all this is, if you really need the funds, you got to take into account, and I put this in your guys' emails, is does it make sense to take the funds right now? You have to look at it as, where's my business? Do I need to fuel it? Am I hitting a hard season where perhaps will impact some revenue, or perhaps this is the time of the season where we just increase our revenue and you're like, I need to give it an extra boost, or I need to give it this boost that will get me above what I'm looking for in my revenue. So this all comes down to understanding your business. And if you haven't been in it long enough, perhaps you're not fully understanding, like, this is the season, this is the time for me to take it. And I not necessarily need to wait to increase my credit score. I don't necessarily need to wait to establish business credit. And with somebody like David Allen Capital and merchant cash advance companies and hybrids, we don't report to the main credit bureaus like the Dun & Bradstreet. We don't always look at establishing business credit. You can go through this. We're just looking at your credit history through FICO, right? That's what we want to look at to make sure you're paying your bills on time. How much of it are you paying? What's the utilization? Debt to income ratio? All these little components, and this can save you a lot. Even if you have business established business credit, doesn't necessarily mean you should look for an option that reports to business credit or reports to this. That doesn't always make sense. So again, it has to come down to, does the benefit exceed my repayment? Do I know what I'm using these funds for? Do I really need them at the moment? Yeah, I may not have a great credit score. It might be in the 550s, just barely 600. And you're like, well, if this is what I can qualify for, it, so be it. I'm going to make the most use of it. I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to stay stable. And I'm going to profit an extra $20,000 to $30,000, $10,000. So it's okay with me if my daily repayment is going to be this, my weekly, and this is what it's calculating to be, maybe a $7,000, $6,000, $8,000 and above monthly payment. So where a lot of the confusion comes in is, what will I, one, get evaluated for, and two, not fully understanding our own business structure. Sometimes we want to give too much of a safety cushion, but our amount of deposits that we're putting into the account, what those bank statements reflect, are sustainable for us to give you the offer we give you. And that's why we don't just give you something without knowing that. We wouldn't give you an offer just because we don't think you can pay it back. We wouldn't put you in that kind of strain. That's what we do. We look at things and we say, well, Jimmy over here, they have 50,000 in revenue. Well, yeah, they'll be paying back, instead of paying back, what, 4,000 to 5,000, they'll be paying 7,000 to 8,000, 7,000 to 9,000, even in some cases more, depending on, it depends from person to person. And that being because of their credit score. Well, if they were to have at least a 600 and above, or they were to have at least a 625 or so, then perhaps we can drop down that 7,000 per month payment over the duration of what they have to half of that. In a lot of cases, that's what happens. We can drop 7,000, 3,500 and above or so, and that would substantially help you, wouldn't it not? Would it not? And even if you don't get that, and again, like I said, if you're not going to wait for that, take what you can get. Or you can even scale back. I tell people if you can get a proof of 40,000, but it's too much of a repayment of a 7,000 or so, well, you're like, well, I'll just take 20,000 for now, and then we can get to 20,000 later. So that way I can cut my monthly repayment, pay this off, and then see where I'm at then, where I know what I'm going to do. And then I come back and get more. And you have to take that into consideration and adjust if necessary, and also fix your credit score. And so again, I'm going to leave that video that I talked about in an extended amount of time on what you can do to fix your FICO credit score, just that at the moment. And there are other services that I also help with as building business credit, fixing credit, that I'll try to leave more information for. But it is very important that to recap on all of this, I'm going to recap in a moment, but how to get a business loan / cash advance really fast. You understand some of the requirements, what's being asked of you. I didn't get too in depth on how we look at A, B, C, D, E paper lending, even above paper lending clients, and what category you fall in. It's just an underwriting guidelines that we look at to say, well, you fall into this bucket, so we can get you these rates, and then you fall into this one, so we can get you these types of terms and what the expectations are. So just keep that into the back of your mind that a lot of cases that I see, even with substantial revenue, sometimes it's not even good credit, and the revenue isn't where it needs to be, even time in business, and there's other things in the background that we have to go through with underwriting. But if you have strong enough revenue, but your FICO credit score isn't where it needs to be, then you have to again ask yourself, can I take the funds? Does it make sense for me to do that? Or am I going to wait so I can increase my credit score from, let's say, from a 550 or anything below 600, and I'm going to put it into the 600 range? Or I'm going to go from 600 and I'm going to put it into the 700 or at least 625 and above, so that I can open up more doors, lower my rates, and then try to increase my terms. But if you don't need that extra amount of time, you're like, with 6 months, 7 to 8 months, in a lot of cases we do this with 4 to 24 months. You always see 3 to 18 months. You're like, well, sure, I could get my credit score up, but it's not what I need to do. I actually need to take my funds. And so be it. With the 550, I get 6, 7 months or so. So I'll take that. It's fine. It won't hurt me. My cash flow is fine. So a lot of people do that. But there are these other options on the table if that's not working for you. And today, I've unfortunately have had to tell people in these questionnaires when I respond back, you don't qualify at this moment, but when you do, here are the funding options available, and this is what you must meet. And even for those who do qualify, I give them other options, and I say, well, this actually would be the best thing for me to do, and this is what I recommend you would do, even though you may qualify for this. And there are other instances where you're like, okay, I qualify for somebody like David Allen Capital, but who are my other lenders? Who are my other options to go to? And I will give those to you on top of this. And I'll say, maybe that's the better option. If you qualify for traditional banking, you might qualify for this online banking solution, and then we can take it from there. And then what I want to leave you with lastly is I appreciate you for watching this video and for plugging in. I always like to make notice of those of you who keep watching are on top of this. Understand what you must know before you walk into an application with 110% confidence and certainty that you will get approved without wasting time. We're talking about days here, weeks, months, and even years of sifting through old, outdated information. And I keep it straight and honest with you guys. I'm a very humble person, and I'll be very nice to you guys just about 99% of the time. And there's that 1% where I'm not mean, but I'm going to give you guys that tough love. And if it comes off as negative, that's not what I intended to do or be. And I don't rant or complain about things. What I try to shine the light on is to make sure you guys fully understand that this is the way it is now, but this is not always the way it needs to be in the future. If you just clean these things up, you cleaned up your business credit to get it to this level, you increase your trade lines here, you apply it with these vendors, and you're paying this amount and this amount, and this is helping you build the business credit. And you're also fixing your FICO credit score at the same time, and you're actually improving your time in business, and your revenue is actually like where it is, or where it's moving up, or it's just keeping stable. Then you're like, oh, okay, those options make sense to me. Now I'm going to go and apply. But until then, don't start that like self-defeat mindset where you're like, oh. And a lot of the times I get that because people will ask me, like, what else can I get approved for? And a lot of the times, like 99% of the time, the reality is if you didn't get approved with this direct lender, if you didn't get approved through these brokerages, it just won't happen right now. And this is what you need to do. And it's just a matter of you coming to realization that, I got to go and start improving this. And I remember when I was in this position like yours, not too long ago, man, in the distant future, trying to build my business credits for my businesses, trying to improve my credit score that was already high enough. And I was never happy. I was always thinking, how can I improve this? Where could I go? How could I fix my credits and make it better? How could I get more available options? And what could I do on a daily basis in my businesses to increase not only my profit, but increase myself as a person? Because until I started to work on myself more, I started to understand that this is as much as a personal development as me working in my business, because what I get here is going to transfer over there. Ultimately, that's what happens. And it's a reflection of myself. It's like when I would look at the mirror in the bathroom in the mornings before I got started with my day. In the beginning, yeah, I did not like what I was seeing. And in terms of what was happening in my own self-esteem, my own business, I kept getting shut down time and time again. And so I had to build these things, and I had to do it day by day, step by step. It's baby steps. Don't think that just because I reveal something to you that, for example, if you're trying to build business credit, it's going to happen right in the same day or the next day. You just got to do it little by little and understand how to build those foundations, and don't continue running into these problems and then these disputes that we so much come into. And you can take a little bit more time to relax, take a little bit more time off your shoulders and stress, and feel like you can finally like sit down and watch your favorite TV show or do something different without getting upset, or on the back of your mind, if it's there looming, you're like, well, tomorrow, what will it bring to me? So let me end this video by showing you this contact form, and I promise this will be done. I know I said that earlier. So this is the questionnaire form that I'll link you guys to down below in the description that plentiful of people have already submitted. It is a questionnaire, not an application. I did about 20 to 30 of these today, which is a great amount if you're considering that it's myself and the amount of time it takes me to do these types of files. And I've gotten really good at them, just recognizing how much time it'll take and what I have to add to them. So it is a very personalized approach, and it's very customized. So you can complete the questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options. Plus, you will get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster. So what simple details will come into this? And before I show you that, fully, this 6-step pre-approval lending checklist, you can get it individually, I'll leave down below, but it is best to fill out this form if you haven't already, because you can get it through here. And it'll be the fastest way to me give you an evaluation and analyzation. A lot of the times people want to get on phone calls. Listen, I've gotten a lot of people emailing me today, here's my number, or here's this and that. And there are instances where that makes sense and for me to get on the call. And there are other moments where it's like, I don't have enough information to go off of who I'm going to be speaking to. And you can be telling me all this information, but why not fill it out in a form where I already have it ahead of time? So if it's then necessary to get on the call, what's needed is just a few things to cover. Maybe you just need some clarification. I've already emailed you. What I do is when you send this through, I evaluate, analyze, and then I give you a proper response that's personalized and customized on what your best funding option and options are. And if you don't qualify for something now, I'll even show you those. And if you qualify for a certain thing, and perhaps you're thinking that he's showing me this, but I don't want that. I'm going to show you that, look, here are some other options. And whether they're very thorough or not, I'm going to make a point and say, well, you don't qualify for these now because you don't have established business credit. And if you do, it's not where it needs to be. So at this moment, this would be the best thing for you to do. But that questionnaire, again, will be down below in the description for you guys to fill out. And so you guys can simply go through this and fill it out, and there's just some more information there. So that will conclude everything from me in this video. I don't mean to sound redundant on some things if you've watched me previously here, but it is best for me to reiterate it. I always come out with new pieces of content. Keep looking out for my latest videos coming up. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please refer to the description. Leave me one down below in the comment section. Reach out to me if you've been doing that through email. I'm in communication with you. But don't stay stagnant. Don't get worried. I'm here to help you at the end of the day. Those people out there, those online marketplaces who have been showing you options and have been saying, hey, this is where you can go and apply with this lender, this place here. They don't always show you a full picture. They don't break down even numbers to you fully. They don't show you comparisons. They don't maybe show you the best funding option and options. Sometimes they give you the best ones, but they're not. There's always a lot of people who are bidding to be shown up on that platform, and those who bid the most will be shown. And you don't want to be harassed and heckled, getting calls after calls, text after text. Like today, once I got those questionnaires and I fully filled them out and I sent them back, I would then go ahead and send them a text message that would then say, "Hi, this is myself, and I sent you an email with the subject line from this email. Please refer to that and reply back if possible. What I've shown you in that email is what your best funding options are, how do they work, and it's unlike anything you're going to get out there at the end of the day. And this is not an automated response. You can reply there anytime you'd like. You have me, so I can help you along the way." But that'll be everything from me in this video. Please refer to the description to get the videos on David Allen Capital specifically. Get your application started. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. The fastest way, though, if you have not yet, fill out that questionnaire and I'll be getting a hold of you. And the thing is, I get a lot of people who need help on a daily basis, and I am very good with my time, so I can always structure them to get on appointments. But the best thing to do is fill out that form, and it will be the fastest way to get a hold of you. And there are some times where it is needed to get on the phone, so I get that, but not in all cases. So check that out below, real estate financing as well as all my other resources. And if you have not subscribed yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you do. Please like this if you got value out of it. Share it with other people who you feel will get value out of not only this video, but the channel as well. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.